Good morning Year 4 and welcome to Monday's maths lesson. Now this lesson is going to be for the children with the Year 3 booklet, and if that's you then I'd like you to turn to page 16, which looks like this. Okay, now I have highlighted question 2. Now don't worry about that for now, we will come back and revisit it, but what I do want to do is a quick warm up with you, and this is going to link into your question 1. Okay, so our warm-up is multiplication word problems. So we need to read the sentences to work out what is the number sentence. So it says multiply 3 by 5. And what it's asking me to do there, multiply 3 by 5. So the number sentence that it's asking me to do is 3 times 5. So we need to do 3 lots of 5, or we can swap it around and do 5 lots of 3. So we know our 3's and we know our 5. So if we do 3 lots of 5, so 1 lot of 5 is 5, 2 lots of 5 is 10, and 3 lots of 5 is, can you tell me? Is 15. Well done, so it's 15. So I'm going to put 1 and a 5. Okay, so let's come on to our red sentence, the second sentence here. So it says, make 4 3 times bigger. Okay, so this is a little bit different. We haven't got the word multiply in there, so this is a little bit harder. So it says to make, just going to underline, make 4 3 times bigger. Now, I do recognise this because when we were looking at our vocabulary last Friday, we did look at times. Now, the two numbers that I can see are 4 and 3. So make 4 3 times bigger. So the multiplication sentence that I need to do is 4 3 times bigger. So you could do it's 3 times bigger. And that is the multiplication number sentence that I need to look at. So it's 4 times 3. 4 lots of 3 or 3 lots of 4. I want to see if you can answer that before I give you the answer on the video. So how quick is your brain working? 4 times 3 or 3 times 4? And you should have got the number 12. So 4 times 3 is 12. So well done if you did get that and you got it before me. Okay, so moving on to our final number sentence here. So it says 2 multiplied, I'm going to underline that because that was part of our vocabulary last Friday, by 6. So the two numbers that I can see are 2 and 6, and I need to multiply them together. So I could do 2 multiplied by 6. So it's 2 lots of 6. 1 times 6 is 6. And what is 2 times 6? Can you say that for me quicker than what I'm going to say on the video? 2 times 6 is 12. So we've got the number 12 again as our answer. Okay, so I can put that there in 12. Now for your warm-up, you're going to do your own in your books, and that's going to be for question 1. That's going to be your warm-up because you've got a series of questions which are presented exactly how we've gone through this in the Teach Today. When you have finished that, this is why I don't want you to go on to question 2. We're going to skip question 2 until the end of the lesson. So this is your warm-up. Once you've done your warm-up, I want you to unpause the video and then listen to the rest of the teach, okay? Okay then, so hopefully we have finished our warm-up, we've got our brains into gear. Now, this is the board that we were looking at on Friday. I'm going to just recap some of these words to get them embedded in our brains. So, we looked at multiply, so we were quite familiar with that, and that would mean the same as this symbol here. Times, groups of, lots of, and product. And our new learning for Friday was our word product. Okay, can you remember how we would say product and how we would use that word in a successful sentence, which means we need to multiply two numbers together? Okay, so what we should do is to find the product, and then you will give me two numbers, and those two numbers would need to be multiplied together to find the product. Okay, so moving on. So we're not doing question 2 yet. Please don't do question 2 because that was our main teach for today. What I do want us to come on to is question 3. And question 3 has got two-step problems in it. So you need to find out one number sentence, and then you possibly need to find out another as well. So let's just go on to my example here. So I'll highlight my example so we know exactly where we are looking at. Okay, so our example is 5 multiplied by 6. So that's very similar to what we were doing in our warm-ups, isn't it? So we know to multiply we are timesing, so I need to do 5 times by 6. And that is what it's asking me to do. Go on to the pen. So it's asking me to do 5 times 6. Okay, you could do 5 lots of 6 or 6 lots of 5s. If you feel more confident in your 5s, then just use your 5s. You're going to get the same answer anyway. So we know 5 times 5 is 25. So 5 times 5 is 5 squared because it's multiplied by the same number. So I just need my next lot of 5 in that sequence. So 5 times 5 is 25. My next lot of 5 after that would bring me to 30. So I can work out my answers to that. Sometimes you just need to go to somewhere where you are familiar with. So we quite often know our 5s better than our 6s, so that's why I went to the 5s. And 5 times 5 is very close to 5 times 6. So we often know 5 squared is 25, and that's why I went to something I was already familiar with. My knowledge was already there. Now if we come into the second one, that's a little bit different. So I'm going to highlight it, but let's go in a different colour so we don't get confused. So we've got, similar to above, a number which is 4 multiplied by 3. So we're going to just highlight that one. And then in your book, you will see that you've got an arrow, and then it's asking you to do something else. Now it's saying now multiplied by 11. Well, what's multiplied by 11? So first of all, you've got to work out the answer to 4 multiplied by 3. And I'm going to write it underneath so we can see this. Let's scroll down so you can see. So, we've got 4 multiplied by 3. Okay, so 4 lots of 3. 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 4 is 8, 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, and then what it's asking me to do is to multiply the answer by 11. So let's go back to my highlighter so we can see exactly what it's asking me to do. So it's asking me multiplied by 11. What's multiplied by 11? This is my answer from my first step, because this is a 2-step problem. So I need to do 12 times by 11. So 12 times by 11. So we've got 12 times that by 11. Okay, so we're going to have a look. Same again, we would have a look at 11 squared, if that is easier for you. So we know 11 squared is 121, but we need to have another set of 11, because 11 squared would be 11 times 11. So adding another 11 onto 121 would find me what answer. Can somebody tell themselves the answer before I write it down? So I'm going to have the answer as 132. So what I've done there is this is a 2-step problem. So you need to do the first number sentence, which was 4 multiplied by 3. You found the answer of that out, which we know was 12. And then we multiplied the answer by 11 to get our total is 132. So you're going to do those in your books, and that's going to be for question 3. When you finish question 3, Please still don't go on to that question 2 because that's going to be our main teach for today. But we're just going to revisit our repeated addition method, which comes at the end of your page, okay? Okay, so moving on to question 4. We've left section 2 blank for the moment, which is great. We have looked at repeated addition before, haven't we? But I just want to recap over our previous learning so that we are secure with it when we come to do it in our books. So I've got a repeated addition number sentence on here, and what I want to do is to transfer it from addition to multiplication. How could I get a multiplication number sentence from an addition number sentence? How am I going to do that? Well, let's have a look at what it says. We've got 5, add 5, add 5, add 5, add 5. Now this is repeated addition, and we can show that using multiplication as well, because it's showing me how many lots of 5 have we got. So we've got 5, add another 5, so that's 2 lots, add another 5, that's 3 lots, add another 5, that's 4 lots, add another 5, that's 5 lots. So what is the number sentence if I'm going back to my vocabulary I used at the start of the lesson? 5 lots of 5. What could my number sentence be for this repeated addition? Okay, 5 lots of 5. So hopefully you would have realised that we've got 5 times by, or multiplied by, 5. Now earlier on we talked about squared numbers, didn't we? And that's when a number is times by the same number. So 5 times 5 is a squared number because it's multiplied by the same number. It's 5 multiplied by 5. So 5 squared, we said this on the previous slide just. What was really easy for us to work out 5 times 6 is knowing what 5 times 5 is. And the 5 times 5 was 25. And that is also going to be the same answer for our repeated addition because we've done 5, add another 5, add another 5, all the way up to 5 groups. And that has shown that I can simplify my repeated addition to a number sentence that includes multiplication. Okay. So I'm also going to put the answer here. Now I want you to have a look at the second number sentence that I've got on the board. Okay, so it's repeated addition again, but now we are using 3s. So repeated addition, you always are repeating the same amount. You can't do a 3, add a 2, add a 3. It's got to have the same numeral that's repeating again for it to work as a multiplication number sentence. So we've got 3, add another 3, so that's 2 groups of 3, 3 groups of 3, 4 groups of 3, 5 groups of 3. 5 groups of 3, so it's 3 and there is 5 lots of them. So I'm going to do 3 multiplied or times by 5. And it's our 5 times table cropping up again, isn't it? So 1 times 5 is 5, 2 times 5 is 10, and 3 times 5 is, can you say it in your head before I write it on the board, is 15. And the answer here is also going to be 15 as well. So repeated addition, we've simplified it to multiplication. So let's have a look at my final repeated addition for today. So I've got 2, add 2, add 2, add 2, add 2. How many lots of 2 have I got? So I know I've got the 2 times table. And I'm going to multiply it by how many groups? Can you tell yourself in your head how many groups it is before I write it down? So I've got 1 group of 2, 2 groups of 2, 3 groups of 2, 4 groups of 2, 5 groups of 2. So I've got 2 multiplied by 5. Now we all should know this because if 3 times 5 is 15, 2 times 5 is going to be 5 less than 15. So take that 5 away from the ones, leaving us with nothing, so it's 10. And it's going to be the same again for my repeated addition. So before we move on to question 2, you have got a question 4 where you need to fill in the multiplication fact and transfer it from repeated addition to a number sentence for multiplication in your books, and when you are ready, please come back to the video without going on to question 2. Okay, so now we are finally going to be visiting our question 2 in our workbooks, and this is my main part of the lesson today. Now, before we have a look, I want us to just recap this learning question at the top. So it's asking me to begin, so to start off, so it's okay, this is new learning, so I'm going to begin to use column multiplication, and I'll put it even bigger here. Column multiplication. So we are familiar with column addition, we are familiar with column subtraction. Now what we're going to move on to is column multiplication, and I'm going to show you an easy method for you to do this at home. So you have got a green, a blue and a pink number sentence for us to do today, and then I've got a challenge for you to do after you've completed the ones in your books, because I think this is going to be our main learning for today. Now, when we use column method, we always begin in the ones column. So I'm still going to start off in the ones column, and I'm going to use 2 different coloured pencils to do this. Now, if you've got 2 coloured pencils at home, I'd also recommend that you do this as well. So I'm going to start off with a red, and I'm going to circle these in my ones column. So I've got my 5 in my ones column and my 2 in the ones column. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is get a different colour. So let's get a different colour. We'll go for blue. I'm going to circle the 10s, but there's nothing below in my 10s. I need to circle what's in my 1s at the bottom. So it's going to look like this. Okay. And this is the method that's going to help you solving your column multiplication. So first of all, we're going to have a look at our red ring, and we need to multiply them 2 numbers together. So I need to do 5 multiplied by 2. And I know that I've just done that, haven't I, with my repeated addition. 5 multiplied by 2 is 10. So as you would normally, we're going to put our 1 for our 10 in the 10s column, and my 0 in the 1s column. And that's the red ring done. Now we're going to move over to the blue ring. So what 2 numbers do I need to multiply together in the blue ring for the second part of my column multiplication? So I need to multiply 3 by 2. So I'm doubling 3, aren't I? And if I double 3, it's 6. Now I'm not going to write 6 in there, am I? Because I did something on my red ring. What did I do? Well, I had a 2-digit number, and I can't put 2 digits in one box. So I had to carry this over. So instead of it being 6, I need to add on that 1 for it to be 70. And the number sentence would be 35 multiplied by 2 equals 70. And that's how we do column multiplication. Now we're going to have another go on the blue one. And again, I'm going to circle in them 2 colours, because I think it separates the 2 parts that you need to do, because column multiplication is a 2-step problem. So let's have a look at our number sentence that we've got. 77 multiplied by 4. So let's get our red ring first. You don't need to use red at home, you can use any colours that you like. But I'm going to use my red ring for my 1s, and then I'm going to use my blue ring for my 10s. Okay, so I need to do 7 times 4. 7 multiplied by 4. So I've got 1 times 7 is 7, 2 times 7 is 14, 3 times 7 is 21, and 4 times 7 is 28. So again, I've got a 2-digit number now, and I need to show that, but I can only put 1 number in my 1s. So 28, I've got my 2 and my 8. And now I'm going to move on to my blue ring. So I need to do 7 multiplied by 4. Well, actually, I've just done that, haven't I? I've done that. It's the same multiplication sentence. So it's also going to be 28. So 28, but I've got my 2 here as well. Don't forget my 2. So 28 add 2 is 30. So I've got a 3 and a 0. So altogether 77 multiplied by 4 is 330. and 8. Okay, so the more I'm doing this, the more I'm hoping that this is helping you. Finally, we're going to go on to the pink one, our final one of our guided column multiplication for today. So straight away, you need your first colour. Mine's going to be my red for the ones. So, I've just noticed that I've done the same multiplication sentence. So let's just change the numbers that I've got. So I'm going to do, let's change this one. Let's do 25. Okay, sorry about that. So we've got our ones column in red. So I'm going to circle my ones, and then I've got my blue for my tens. And I'm going to circle this one here as well. So moving back onto my ones, what were the two numbers that I need to multiply? Well, I've got 5 and a 4, so I need to multiply 5 and 4 together. So 1 times 5 is 5, 2 times 5 is 10, 3 times 5 is 15, 4 times 5 is 20. Okay, so I've got a 2-digit number, so my 2 goes across and my 0 goes in my ones column. Okay, moving on to my blue ring, so I've got 2 multiplied by 4. So 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 2 is 6, and 4 times 2 is 8. But I have got 2 more here, haven't I? So I need to do 8, add 2. So 8 add 2 is 10. Cross it off so you know you've done it. And I've got my 1 and my 0. So 25 multiplied by 4 is 100. Okay, so in your books what you've got is a series of questions on the ones that I've highlighted. Make sure if you've got a number that has got extra digits which you need to carry over into the next column, that you show your working and you cross it out. And like I said, you can use 2 different colours to show your rings for your ones column and your tens column. Now my challenge for today is, once you have done that, I've done some more questions for you on the board. So this is your challenge time. This is the time for you to show off your learning and show me how great you are. Now there are only 3 questions. Now you could do this on a spare piece of paper, or you could do it on a whiteboard, and I want you to show me how you've worked out 83 multiplied by 6, 41 multiplied by 9, and 67 multiplied by 4. And when you have finished with your learning and you've done your challenge time, I'd really love to see who has done the best work, and the best and neatest presentation might just get a shout out. So well done everybody. Make sure you do challenge time as well, and good luck.